Gentlemen, welcome back to TLT Talks. We have a very exciting and very important show for you today. Many people may or may not know this, but New York City has a sales cycle. A typical sales cycle. Nothing's really been that typical since COVID. And the busiest time of the year to list and sell property is between Labor Day and Thanksgiving. So on with me today, I'm going to be having two of my top sales agents. They're going to be coming on any minute now with what are the major things to do? What are some tips, some good practices in order to optimize the sale of your home in the way of price and also in the way of strategy? So we got Nancy. Nancy Robbins, how goes it?
Very well, Eugene. Thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. And we have Mark now about to come on. Let's see if we can get this done. Instagram, two people on one show. What do you say? Boom!
All right.
There we go. Mr. Dimov, how goes it, sir?
Good day. Everything is great. How are we feeling?
We are feeling amazing. I was just telling our audience what an exciting show we have for them today because we're about to go into the busiest sales time of the year. And on with me are two people that have done it for themselves, done it for a million clients, two very, very special people. Nancy Robbins, let's start with you. Specializes in high-end sales. Not to say won't do other sales, but a specialty is a specialty. Nancy, a lifelong New Yorker, bought and sold multiple of your own homes. You know, every broker I've ever met talks about, well, I'm all about relationships, but you actually are. And Nancy Robbins is the definition of what it means to be relationship driven. So much passion this person has. If you know me, you know that I'm driven by passion, live with passion. And Nancy certainly aligned with me there. And just an encyclopedia of real estate knowledge. Well, Nancy, I'm going to shut up for a second. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, as you said, I'm pretty much a lifelong New Yorker. I've lived mostly in Manhattan, and 4 years ago, I made the move across the river, and now I'm in Williamsburg. A little bit of my heart is still on the Upper East Side. That's where I own my co-op in Carnegie Hill. But now I have the distinction of being a cool mom because I live in Williamsburg, and my two daughters live both about 6 blocks from where they grew up on the Upper East Side. So I'm the cool mom here, and they're living on the Upper East Side. So that's a little fun fact.
Love it. All right, Nancy Robbins. Well, as you know, we like to have fun on our team. Fun fact. Give us a fun fact about you.
Oh, that was my fun fact.
What challenge you? What else you got? Something else.
I love New York. No matter where I travel, anywhere, when I come home and I see that skyline, I fall in love all over again. I love museums. I love restaurants, maybe a little too much, going out to eat, and Broadway, off Broadway. If anyone knows me, they know that I try at least once a week or a couple times a month to be seeing a show.
Well, Nancy Robbins, it is such an honor to know you and to work with you. My whole family loves you, and so do all of our clients.
Oh, well, here's a fun fact. Eugene's kids call me, I don't even know if they know my name. They call me Playdate Lady.
That is true. That is true. That's true. Mr. Dimov specializes, handles all real estate, as does everybody on our team, but specializes in new dev, very well versed in multiple assets, clubs, condos, houses, mixed use, whatever it is. He himself is a success story. He walks the walk. He is a building owner. He's a landlord. He's an investor, and he's a total Jedi in evaluating new development opportunities. Mark, why don't you give us a little bit about yourself as well?
Well, good day. Thanks again for having me on. I am an Astoria resident for 17 years. I just love my neighborhood. It's such an eclectic place. I love the service. Real estate here, it's so fun. It's very, very diverse in the different asset classes here. And much like you said, condos, co-ops, single family, multifamily, mixed use, new development projects on every single corner. And it's really fun to service not just here, but all along the Queens and Brooklyn waterfront. That's my primary neighborhoods that I work on, from Astoria all the way down to Red Hook as our guests and buyers will see in the next few weeks. We have something really exciting coming up in Red Hook.
Yes, we do. Coming soon. Coming soon. A really special project. And so, all right, cool. Well, let's jump in, guys. Let's jump in. So I'm a seller.
What? I don't get a fun fact?
Oh
What
my
is
God.
this? I don't get a fun fact?
Yes. Of course you do, sir. My sincere apologies. Fun fact, sir. What do we got?
Oh, now you want a fun fact? I
want
got
a fun
one for you.
fact.
All right.
I want a fun fact.
So last year, November, December, I took a fantastic trip, and on this trip, I adopted a new passion, which is scuba diving. Love the scuba diving, and really excited to go and venture into the Caribbean this winter.
Love it. I actually went scuba diving. I think it was in Jamaica. One of my best friends and our dear client Gene Cody got certified, and so I was only allowed to go for like a part of the trip, and then he went on. But I remember standing at the bottom of the ocean, like literally standing, like just looking around and thinking like, this is insane. I need to do more of this.
Truly.
Very cool hobby. A very cool hobby. And also, what a great exercise in controlling your mindset or your story, because if you start to panic and you don't do your breathing right, or you start to think, what if this or what if that, and you got to be really calm down there. What a brilliant sport activity, whatever the appropriate explanation is. All right, well, sincere apology for almost giving your fun facts, sir. Just very excited to deliver some value to our audience. We are in an unprecedented time. Prices are higher than ever before. Rates are crazy. It is not an easy market. It's really challenging. And there's a lot of people out there that either are about to sell their own home, or brokers that maybe have their first or second sale listing that aren't fully versed. And so what I thought, because we do this at such a high level, I thought we could just give some pointers, some to-dos of how to do this right. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are a seller or you're about to represent a listing, it's time to sell. What should you do? Let's start with pricing and strategy. Nancy Robbins, you have a listing. How do you go about, how do you approach the pricing and strategy of that listing?
So the obvious answer that everyone will say is comps. And that is true. Comps are going to be the best indicator of where we should price your home. But it's not just comps. In addition to looking at what are the active listings and the sold listings, we really focus on contract signed, and because that is going to be the newest data. When you look just at closed sales, that data could be 3 to 6 months old from when that transaction hit the market. If you just look at active, that could be people who have some wishful thinking going on and what they want to see their home sell for. So if you look at contract signed, that's probably the best indicator. And what we do, which is a little different, is we actually have relationships with so many brokers and so many agents. What we do is we do some investigative research, and we want to know as much as we can about the price that this unit went, or this home went into contract for. So we may not get the exact price because that's usually confidential until the closing, but we can get an idea. Was it a multiple bid situation? Was it on the market a long time? Did they get asking? Did they get below asking? Did they get over ask? So we'll do a lot of digging on the units that are in contract sold to see what is the best information that we can provide to our sellers of how they should price their property.
Yeah, so spot on. I mean, real estate pricing today, it is a science, but it is also an art. And as Nancy says, if you get information that's from closed, you're behind. If you're active, you can be delusional. You just don't know. A lot of our clients like to say, well, they are asking for this. Well, I can ask for whatever I want. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it. And the truth is, for most people to know, when you call, this is just not common practice. To call and get the contract price is not common practice. One of the reasons it's not common practice is because it's confidential information, and most agents will not give that price away. So we have designed, besides the fact, as Nancy said, that we have all these relationships, we've also designed this conversation in a way where we can get some pulse on what's going on, and ultimately to a seller looking to sell. I can't stress the importance of this part of understanding where the comparable contracts are, because that's the real-time data. That's the only data actually that probably really matters. The one thing to consider there, though, is the closed. You got to consider that those prices for the purpose of the appraisal. So if you're going to do a mortgage deal, and let's say that you're even able to get a contract signed at 100 or 200 or $500,000 above market value, if they're doing a mortgage, what needs to come with the appraisal is closed comps. And if there's no closed comps, you might find yourself in a difficult scenario, and that deal might not go all the way through. So, again, the real estate market is not simple at the moment. It is complex. And so it's really important to be working with high-level professionals that have been there, done it, all different areas. But certainly pricing is critical. Mark, what do you got for us? So what else is critical about pricing strategy?
Well, I'll jump into something a little bit different, but equally important, which is presentation.
Yeah.
Presentation, I cannot stress it enough. I have a question for our audience. From the moment a buyer walks into a property until the moment that they decide if the property is for them, how much time do you think passes? I'll give you a second to think about it. I'll give you another second to think about it. If you guess 2 to 4 seconds, you would be accurate. People just get a feeling right away if they love a place. So presenting it in the best light possible is absolutely critical. That means deep cleaning, decluttering, painting maybe. It means showing the place in the best light possible, opening up windows. It seems like a no-brainer, but these are things that we really need to pay attention to so people see the property in the best possible way.
Yeah, for sure, man. Honestly, if there was a way to access, here's 100 random properties in New York City, any borough, what if we did a pie chart of objections? The 2 primary objections to any property will be light and space. So you have to design the listing in a way that, if it's a darker apartment that faces a brick wall, you can do lamps, you do the best you can to optimize the light and certainly to optimize the space. All too often, we as brokers, when we are talking to sellers, we'll get real life constraints. Well, I have a kid at home, I have a newborn, I work from home, I have this, I have that. I don't have anywhere to put this stuff, and that's all fair and that's all valid. However, if you want top dollar for your home or your investment property, just understand that not creating it, not making it like a new development showroom, not making it pristine, can have a huge implication on the offer. Not 1 or 2%, could be as much as 5 or 10%. Because as Mark said, this is actually the 3 level of buyers. You can chunk it into 3 buyers. Somebody walks into the space and they really fall into one of 3 categories, okay? Either they walk in, they realize it's not for them. That's okay, that's not our buyer. When selling anything, there's a lot more no's than there are yeses. Not everything's for everyone, so that's fine. The second classification of buyer is they come in and they're the logical buyer, right? I think I can make this work. Maybe this could work. Out of everything we've seen, this is the logical choice. That buyer, that's likely your lowball offer. That's like someone that's going to say, if I get a good deal on it, then I'll buy it. And then you have the buyer that everybody wants, which is they come in and within 2 to 4 seconds, as Mark says, they have a feeling of, oh my God, I have to have it. If you've ever looked for a rental or a home to buy, hopefully you've had this experience where you're willing to borrow money from family and friends, extend your budget. I won't Uber. I swear I'll take the train from now on. I won't see Seamless. I'll start taking it home. I won't go out to dinner. I have to have this place. That's the person that'll do whatever you want. Now, to create that level of buyer, if the home doesn't show pristine, a buyer that could have been that level 3 buyer likely falls into level 2, and that's an implication of price. So look, nobody says selling a home was easy. It is challenging. There are constraints, but certainly, devising the right pricing strategy and then making sure that it shows in the most desirable way, super critical. And honestly, I don't think this gets enough energy when a listing is being designed. All right, so.
Well, you know what? To add to that, there's good reason as to why the staging industry is a $1 billion industry. Right?
That's damn right. And it's actually now, it used to be, just to give you guys some context, let's say our 1 bedroom is 700-ish square feet. Let's say our 2 bedroom is 900, 1,000 square feet. And let's say our 3 bedrooms like 12 to 1,500 square feet. A 1 bedroom staging used to be $3 to $5 grand. 2-bedroom would be, 6 to 8, and a 3-bedroom would be, significantly more. You can't find a stager now that'll stage a 1-bedroom for less than like 6, 7, 8 grand. It's like the staging costs have almost doubled because people are seeing the light. They're understanding just how valuable this process is and how much it reflects on the sales price. So much so that the staging industry prices have gone up about 80 to 90, 80 to 100% or so. You can still find the starters that'll give you, a cheap deal. However, I'd caution you there too, because if you think it's expensive to work with a professional, just wait till you work with an amateur. So make sure you're paying for the right service. All right. So thank you, Mario. That's really helpful. So we have our pricing, we have our strategy, the unit is staged, it looks pristine, we're priced well. How do we market this thing now? Nancy, how do we get maximum exposure for this listing now?
Okay. So once we have our photos and we're set, if we need to virtually stage, we'll virtually stage. But once we're happy that the photos look amazing, now it's time to go. We are going to take your listing and get maximum exposure. We're going to be on StreetEasy. We're going to be on Zillow. We're going to be on almost 30 syndicated sites that the Compass listing goes to. We'll be out to every single brokerage. So we're getting as much exposure for the listing as possible. In addition to that, you can't have a listing today without social media, without digital advertising, without email marketing, without texting, without calling, without doing everything else that's necessary for the listing. So we are going all out to get your listing maximum exposure. In addition to all of those things, if it's like a really special property, we also will get it into, we have Leonard Steinberg's Compass Catch email that highlights about 5 properties across the country every day, 365 days a week. If we can get a listing into Compass Catch, that's going to 30,000 brokers across the country. And you never know where your next buyer is going to come from. It's excellent exposure, and we collaborate without ego. So if someone sees it in Aspen and it's the pied-à-terre for them, we've just increased your buyer pool.
Yeah. So you want to be a listing agent. It's so easy, right? You just go, you just look at recent comps, you take some pictures, you put it online, and the offers just come piling in. It's so easy, right? And so true to everything what Nancy just said. We had a listing. We do a lot of work in this building in Williamsburg called The Edge. Earlier in my career, got my first penthouse listing. It was a 2-bedroom, it was a 2 or 3-bedroom, I forget, apartment. And the owners wanted a really ambitious price at a time where it just couldn't get there. And they said to me, Eugene, we know you work miracles. We know you break records. We're going to challenge you to get us this price. And what am I going to say? No? Okay, of course, fine. So I brought in a media crew. We did a video that was literally like a movie commercial that got circulated in the way that Nancy Robbins is referring, got to a broker from Corcoran who sent it to their client in, I forget if it was Dubai, Switzerland, somewhere halfway across the world. They weren't even considering Williamsburg at the time. They watched the video and said, why haven't we looked at Williamsburg? Well, because whatever, it came all cash, full ask, and the deal gets done. So without that marketing effort, if all I do is just put it up and leave it, that transaction never happens. I don't think that particular owner would have been open in a price trap. I think I would have had the listing for 3-4 months. I think I would have got fired, even though they were close friends, and I think they would have went with another broker. So my God, maximum exposure and getting out there is so critical. Nancy, well said. And Leonard, if you're watching this, shout out to Leonard. Leonard Steinberg does a daily contemplation where he highlights properties, but also just gives some nuggets of wisdom every day, and it's a great way to start your day. If you're interested in the Leonard Steinberg contemplation, I'm not sure if we're allowed to give them out, but Leonard's a friend. You email me, and we could get you. We could maybe share some of them. Mr. Dimov, anything to add? So we got maximum exposure on the marketing side. How else? If we want to get top dollar, we're staged, we look great, we got the right price. What else can we be doing?
Yeah, you bet. So to preface that, I think something that has occurred in the past couple of years in the industry is that some brokers may have gotten a little bit complacent. From COVID until the time rates went up, in that period of time, you'd put something on and it would be gangbusters,
That's
right?
right.
So we just put things online, and then brokers were just sitting back waiting for the leads to come in, for clients to call up and they want to go see the property. Well, the industry has changed a bit, and it takes good old-fashioned brokerage, which means hitting the phones.
No,
Gotta
wait
hit
a
the phones.
minute, wait a minute. What do you mean?
Yeah,
People, what do you talk to? Call people?
that's
Well,
right.
no. I only text, I only DM, I only TikTok, I don't call people. What are you talking about, Mark?
Look, call me old-fashioned. I grew up in the 80s before cell phones and texting. So yes, I will call brokers who have similar listings. I will call buyers who I believe this a particular listing might be suitable for, and I'll just bring it to their world. Not everybody is paying attention to the bombardment of emails that an open house is happening, particularly brokers. They get those all day long. So I will call industry professionals and let them know that we have something that I believe either they or their clients might be interested in. For that matter, if there's a broker who knows of another broker who might have a client, I will tell them, make the connection, and we'll even give you a referral
Boom.
fee for making that connection.
Truly collaborate without ego. Legend. And by the way, this happens all the time. I want you, to all the agents out there that might be watching this, and to all the sellers that might be interviewing an agent, if what you do is walk into a listing, look at the comps, and don't get the contract prices or any quotes, get the photographs, get the listing online, and never pick up the phone. My question to you is, what is your unique value? What differentiates you from any other agent in the industry? If all you're doing is looking online, getting some photos, and getting it listed, couldn't anybody do that, right? And so the vetting of contract price is so critical. Oftentimes, if someone will call us, either it's an agent on the team that's having trouble moving a listing, or we've done a good job establishing ourselves in the industry. So every now and then we'll get a call. Hey, I'd love your feedback. What do you think? My first question is always, how many people have you called? So if you have a listing in Williamsburg as an example, have you called everybody in Greenpoint to say, well, they're probably looking at Williamsburg things too. Have you called people, let's say across the pond, have you called people in Soho that maybe are priced out that might want to be in Williamsburg? Where's the effort? Who have you called? Who have you put this in front of? Just getting it online, whoever saved it will see it, and that's fine. But the effort comes in how many people have you called? Who have you exposed it to? That maybe is not exactly simple or by process. So Dimov, massive respect, big props, because I can tell you guys for certain, we track all this internally. We have our own CM where we track all this, and Mark is consistently in the way of prospect activities, on our leaderboard. Anytime he gets a property, there's a round robin of calls. There's a clear effort in bringing in people from outside the normal circuit, and it's why he's been successful in so many sales. And Nancy's a really unique ability. I mean, everyone talks about relationships, but she legitimately goes out of her way in such a way that people just feel so comfortable with her. So when Nancy picks up the phone and calls anybody, there's an immediate reciprocity of value and effort and whatever. So they're both so great in their unique way, but both of them real execution Jedis. And for anyone that might be watching, again, if you're somebody looking and you're applied to hire a broker, make sure they have these qualities. It's too important a decision, and it's too important a job that whoever's doing the work is not doing these things. And if you are a broker and you're not doing this, well, make sure you are, because there are, the top 1% of the industry are doing these things. Okay, so I want to talk about something else that might seem obvious, but actually is really not, and is a total art and a science. So we've priced the property, it's looking pristine. We've got all this marketing, all this call, and we've hit a home run there. And so we have all these showings coming up. Nancy Robbins, talk to me. What should a showing look like? What should be present when doing a showing?
So I'm going to say, before the showing even occurs, as soon as we get an inquiry, we're calling that buyer.
No, hold on, wait a minute. We're getting on the phone?
We like to talk on the phone. We're going to call the buyer, or we're going to call the buyer's agent, and
we're just chatty patties. That's what it is.
We like to talk on the phone. It's one of my job requirements. But we're gonna pre-frame the sale, give them information. We don't want to waste their time, and we don't want to waste our own time showing to someone. But we also want to do a little pre-selling of the listing, so that when they come to the property, we're hitting the ground running with someone who's an actual qualified buyer. I usually start my showings, if I'm in an apartment building, I start it in the lobby. I greet them in the lobby. I introduce them to the building, get an idea of where they're coming from, who they are. So we start the conversation in the lobby, in the elevator, on the way up. And then once we get into the apartment, I usually am set up with, I've got show sheets, I've got a neighborhood map. You know, you can't assume that everybody knows the neighborhood that we're selling in, whether it's, you know, downtown or Williamsburg or Bushwick or Ridgewood, Queens. We want to introduce them to the neighborhood. What are the restaurants? Where's the transportation? All the questions that people are going to ask. In terms of our show sheets, we do our show sheets a little bit differently. We think it's really important on our show sheets that not only do we have the specs of the apartment, you know, what are the common charges, what are the property taxes, square footage, etc., but also what are comps? What's currently on the market that's comparable to this? Sometimes there's nothing on the market that's comparable to this. Sometimes there's some recently sold in the building or in the neighborhood, to give people an idea of, if they're going to make an offer, here's what's actually going on the market today, to give them some indication. The other thing that we do is we work with a lot of mortgage bankers, and we'll have mortgage sheets in the apartment. It starts the conversation going in terms of where rates are, what would their monthly payment look like. You know, a lot of time you have first-time buyers, they don't know anything about mortgages, they don't know anything what their budget is. But to be able to explain different types of mortgages, whether it's a 30-year fixed or a 7-year adjustable, an ARM or an interest-only loan, we want to give them the information, and we want to give them an idea of, in this specific apartment, what would their monthly payment look like with all-in costs. So we're prepared with everything that they would need, and more, once they're in the apartment, before they even take a step, before they even look around and see if they like the place. We've given them a lot of information.
Love it. So well said. Buyers, for anyone that's ever been out there, current buyers or past buyers, you know what the process is like. You probably don't call either. You probably have a safe search on StreetEasy or Zillow, or hopefully Compass, and you have a collection, and a property pops up. And so what do? You email the broker, hey, I'd like to see this property at 4 o'clock on Thursday. And the broker responds, great, I'll meet you at 4 o'clock on Thursday. And both of you have no idea about the other ones. So whereas what we do is we make sure to have a conversation first. We love transparency. So, you know, maybe the owner is negotiable, or maybe we're expecting a bidding war. If you were going to go to an open house, wouldn't you want to know, let's say there's a property price at $999. Now let's say the strategy was $999 in order to generate a bidding war, which is a common strategy in an aggressive market. If you're the buyer, wouldn't you want to know that? Wouldn't you want to know that this listing is designed to get, you know, $1,050,000 or 1.1 or whatever? Whereas you might be thinking, oh, this is great, I'm going to make an offer of $950,000, and you're calling your friends, I think I found one. Wouldn't that be helpful? Wouldn't it be helpful to know that there's a tenant in place, or that there's some sort of special conditions? Wouldn't it be helpful to know, if you're reaching out about a property on a Wednesday to see it on a Sunday, wouldn't it be helpful to know there's already 15 appointments before Sunday? And if you wait till Sunday, you might lose it to somebody else that's already signed it, submitted an offer. All these things get lost in email. Similarly, when you walk into an apartment, the truth is that most people are not aware of the different mortgage products out there. As a buyer, if you walked into a listing and it was explained to you, we're priced at $999, but it's because apartment, 4A did this and apartment 7A did that, and this apartment did this, and this is what's going on in the market. So because of these things, because of these different pieces of evidence, this is why we chose this price, versus walking into an apartment being like, these people are crazy. How could they come up with this number? Or I think it's really cheap. What's really going on? And then lastly, being able to see, okay, well, you know what? At a 30-year fixed, the mortgage is $5,000, but at an ARM, it's 4.5, and then an IO, it's actually 3.8, and just having that level of clarity. So again, owners, whoever you're going to hire, make sure this is the level that it's coming at. Brokers, if you're going to take on a sale with me, this is what the owner deserves. Make sure that you're doing your part in, in elevating the listing and the process. Nancy, really well said. Mark, what else we got, man? What else we got? What's critical to showing?
So basically everything you guys just discussed is salesmanship, right? The three most important things in selling a property, we've discussed pricing. It's so crucial to get pricing correct right out of the gate. And then there's marketing, having your best marketing efforts, and then salesmanship. So, it's so important to give this as much attention as possible. And what we do in meeting with clients is get real-time feedback. We want to know why they love a property.
Right.
We want to know if they don't love a property, why that is. We need real feedback so we can go back to our clients and give that feedback because it tells a story. If we've shown a property to 20 clients and consistently we're getting the same kind of feedback, great. That gives us some kind of direction in how we're going to take the listing. So getting that data and having a record of it, which we do and pride ourselves on, is super, super crucial. Cannot stress that enough.
Yeah, so sellers, have you ever had a conversation with your broker and they say, well, what do they think? And the broker will say something like, well, they liked it. Are they going to make an offer? Not yet. Why not? They're still thinking about it. What does that actually mean? How do you, let's say you got 10 of those and it's been 30 days. How do you not make a decision of what to do next with that level of feedback? So, as Mark says in our team, we really pride ourselves on getting data. We are total dorks. I mean, we have to have the data, the spreadsheets, that this is just how we operate. Because we have this opinion, which is not my quote, but that anytime opinion means fact. Fact wins 100% of the time. And we can't, something so important, you can't live in opinion. So if Mark were doing the showing, and I know because Mark and I have done showings together, Mark would say, so what did you think of the place? And the buyer or the buyer's broker might say, it's nice, we're going to give it some thought. Mark would not accept that answer. Mark would say, come on, I got to go back to my seller with some real feedback. Just tell me, what do you like? What do you not like? Is it the price? And Mark will start up a conversation to get the real feedback. Here's what's really interesting. Here's why this process is so important. I cannot tell you how many transactions we've done only because we were willing to have this conversation, because someone might finally open up and say, well, I really do like the apartment, but XYZ. And so they were getting ready to move on because they thought XYZ was absolute and not solvable, when in reality, a lot of the times the thing is solvable. And by drawing out of them what the thing is, sometimes it was a price, sometimes it was a fixture, sometimes it was timing. If a buyer sees an apartment, they're like, well, I'm just window shopping. I'm really not looking to close anything till next year. Question, what if we give you a closing date of 10 months out? The owners don't mind staying there that long. We'll just agree on that now. We'll even pay for a rate lock for 12 months with something like that where, I didn't even know that was possible. Boom, record transaction.
# professional problem solvers.
That's it. So, oh man, we've covered so much great content here today. So again, owners, make sure that, when you're interviewing brokers to see who's going to work for you, make sure you're asking these questions. Make sure you're asking, well, how do you decide on the price? And they're going to say comps. Well, what do you comp? What are the actual comps you put together? What do you suggest? Can you take a look at my apartment? Do I need to do anything? If they said, no, I think you're okay as is, not the right choice, right? If they're not excited, if they're not playing stager designer, not the right choice. Ask them, what are you going to do to market my property? And you should get a laundry list like Nancy did. And then if calling brokers is not on that list, if they're not giving you a vibe, like they're going to call all these industry professionals and they're going to call all these folks, then probably not the right choice. And lastly, ask them, well, let me ask you a question. What does a showing look like? And maybe what you want to do is go surprise them at one of their open houses. Don't say you're coming. Just rock up and be like, oh, I'm here to see the property, and just see how are they dealing with other people. Or this is a little bit sneaky. I'm going to admit this is a little bit sneaky. We've been on the receiving end of this. Have a friend reach out to them about one of their listings, and have a friend participate in the experience of what it's like when that broker is representing a property. That's a real life case study. And so I could say to you guys, anybody that's watching this, anyone that's considering a real estate agent to sell their property, test us. Test us. You have one of your friends reach out to us, or you reach out to us, and you have an experience with us, and I'd be really proud of the way we do it. Let me close this off. We're usually 30 minutes. I think we're going on 45 now. Just so much value here. Nancy Robbins, any final thoughts, tips, anything final?
If you're looking to sell, I'm happy to help you. If you're if you need any advice, call me.
Mr. Dimov, any final thoughts, final suggestions?
Yeah, look, the real estate industry is ever changing. We're venturing into new territory, or a territory where we're uncomfortable and unfamiliar, going into 7% interest rates. We got so accustomed to 3% and sub 3%. So there's a little bit of turmoil. Lean on your real estate professional, lean on your real estate attorney, speak to your mortgage broker, get your team in place, and ensure that you are approaching it with the most knowledge and experience behind you.
Yeah, for sure. Please, 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 please make sure that you're hiring correctly. Don't just hire the friend. Don't just hire the broker you've used in the past 5 years ago. You know, like, just make sure you're into this. Is so important. This is so important. I'm going to extend this olive branch. If there's any seller out there that's considering selling their property, even if you ultimately choose not to hire us, it's totally fine. We're in the business of adding value. We're not in the business of commissions. So if you just want a second opinion, no problem. If you've already hired a broker and you're getting ready to go to market and you want a second opinion, no problem. Give us a call. We would not even be able to take the listing at that point because you're contracted to somebody else. We are just so passionate on this team about helping people build their wealth through real estate and monetize and maximize this asset called real estate. We just want to be of service and of help, and we really believe in that. So this is all three of us extend this olive branch of, if you need a second opinion, if you've got your property listed and it's not going the way you think it should be going, feel free to think of us like a consultant. You know, we don't care you give us a listing, you don't. We just want to be of service. So my final tip is, I think I'm saying the same thing as Mark and Nancy are. Make sure that you are operating prepared, prepare in advance. Make sure you know, the list we went through today, make sure that's present. Make sure you have a solid real estate team. The lawyer is important, the broker is important, the mortgage broker is important. So even on a sale listing, you want to align with the mortgage broker. We didn't cover this, but there's an opportunity to have anyone that wants a mortgage contingency to make that contingent only with your mortgage professional. That's a way to save deals. Someone signs a contract and they have a 30 or 45-day mortgage contingency and they get denied for their loan and they back out and you're starting all over, virtually impossible to capture top dollar on that property anymore. So you want a mortgage broker involved, and if a buyer wants a contingency, you want them going through your trusted mortgage broker to make sure they're actually qualified. So I'm going to cut us here. If there's anything of interest that will be said to all industry professionals, to all consumers, to anyone, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to us. You know how to get us. Mark and Nancy, A, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're both really busy. And B, and more importantly, thank you for every day, everything you do for this team and for our clients and for me. I am so grateful and honored to work with both of you. And I think that anyone that gets to work with you in the way of real estate should consider themselves very fortunate, not just because of your skills or your knowledge, but because of your heart, because of just who you are. So I love you guys. Thank you for your time in all ways.
Thank you for having us. And
Thank you much, Eugene.
Thanks to all the fans out there.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a great day, guys. Be well.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Enjoy your day, folks.
Bye.